I genuinely think that the so-called national public schools are just brands.
Yeah.
By the way, you pay very similar levels of fees.
Yeah.
No matter how big the name is.
Yep.
In terms of teaching quality, it's about the same.
Yeah. For example, the classic is Winchester, for example, right? Neither of us went to Winchester, but we know a lot of people who went to Winchester.
Yeah.
And Winchester has a reputation for being sort of...
For me, it's a pseudo-intellectual school.
Exactly. Like a
you're not allowed to play rugby.
Exactly. So,
and it's meant to be very left-leaning.
Yep.
So, for example, it's so sort of liberal that you have no school uniform from year one.
Mm-hmm.
You wear your own suit.
Yep.
As long as it's a suit,
yeah,
you'd be fine. Yeah.
So if your child is maybe less sport inclined or interested,
mm-hmm.
then you might consider Winchester as being more appropriate.
Yeah.
But if they're very sporty and you force them to go to a school like Winchester, you're putting them into a mold which might not be appropriate.
So, welcome to episode 6 of Bar Talk, and I thought we'd go into education a bit more, especially UK school choice.
Yep.
I actually received quite some comments from parents after our last episode with Hiromi in Cantonese, in which we discussed education, bringing kids up in Hong Kong.
Mm-hmm.
And quite a few parents DM'd me asking me to talk a bit more about choosing schools in the UK, starting from prep school. So I thought I'd start from there. Now, Seb, I've been to a school in the UK that has a prep school section, but I had never been to one myself. So you'd better start with this part.
Sure.
Tell us about prep school. What is a prep school?
So in the UK, you have the prep school system, which sort of sets you up for going to a senior school. So they won't be affiliated.
So is it like junior high?
It's sort of like a junior school, and some students may then join the senior school from another junior school, or some students might sort of progress through the junior school up.
Right.
So for example, as you know, I went to St. Paul's, and the junior school of St. Paul's was called Collet Court.
Yeah. The name has changed, apparently.
To St. Paul's Junior? Is it St. Paul's Junior?
Now it's just St. Paul's Junior.
Yeah.
I suppose, they wanted to make sure people know that it's the St. Paul Junior.
Maybe.
Right, because, I knew Collet Court quite well, because a lot of your graduates didn't just move on to St. Paul's, they'd go to other schools as well. Mm-hmm. Some did go to Harrow.
Right.
Yeah, so
those who
but
wanted a boarding experience.
Yeah. So prep school is for students aged from what to what?
Students aged
3 to 13.
6 to 9 to.
Because there's also pre-prep.
There's also pre-prep. Yeah.
Well, we shouldn't be talking about that because I don't think parents are interested in that. They're just interested
so
in
St. Paul's
prep.
Junior for me was 9 to 13.
Right. Yeah.
5 years.
Yeah.
And then 13 to 18, senior school.
Mm-hmm.
So
Boris Johnson was born in New York and famously grew up in Brussels, Belgium. And he was only sent back to the UK when he was 9 and was considered a bit late. He had to play the catch-up game when he was at Ashdown, a famous prep school that has since closed down. We would touch upon the issue of UK schools closing later on, but and he won a scholarship to Eton when he was 11, and then he went on to Eton when he was 13. So the public school, boarding or not, is for students aged 13 to 18, and prep school, I suppose, strictly speaking, 9 to 13. So the entry point is at 9. You can, I think, also enter
at 8.
Slightly earlier,
so
or even
11,
later.
11,
I do know some overseas students entering at around 11.
11, there's another window at 11.
Spending a year or two in that prep school.
I think it'll be interesting for our audience to hear our thoughts on when they might want to when they might want to
entry
go, when their
point.
children might want to go, the entry point. Because for us who sort of grew up in that system, it was obviously a very natural kind of progression to go through the ranks like that. But if you're living in Hong Kong and you are considering going to the UK, when you go will be quite a big consideration, honestly.
What is the chief advantage of going to the UK, getting into the UK system earlier at say 9, 11? Why should you go to a prep school before, the boarding school age?
I think the primary advantage will be it helps you get into a better secondary school.
I agree. I actually think that if your kids, especially if they're not that smart, you face less competition. If you go to a prep school first, because there are so many prep schools. They're all small, but there are way more choices. And it's less hard to get into.
It's less hard to get into. If you go to has quite a good like you said, you can sort of get in on the ground level, and then provided that your grades are relatively okay and you don't do anything stupid to get kicked out, you can probably progress through. Compared to if you had to apply for the senior school later on.
A strong feeling that I had when I was at Harrow was that, afterwards, it's been so many years now, so I think it's safe for me to make such comments. It's that I felt many of them weren't actually that smart. They just went through the right system. So their sort of acceptance into the senior school, into Harrow was just smooth. Natural progression, right? But had they come from the outside system, it would have been harder.
Definitely. I have the same sentiment. I think for context, so when in St. Paul's there were around 180 students in a year.
About the same size as
About the same size as Harrow, in a year group. So, for example, in Collar Court St. Paul's Junior, there would have been like 80, 90 students probably in a year. Probably again, comparable. I would say that the 80, 90 students that came in not from the junior school to St. Paul's were probably on average brighter than the ones that had gone through the system. Exactly for the reason that you said, because they had to be exceptionally good in order to get in then at that point.
So
definitely.
The thing is, I think many parents might suspect that it would have been even harder to get into the prep schools. The good ones. Because in Hong Kong, if you want to get into a really prestigious school's primary section, it's usually harder.
It's harder, yes.
But I argue it's the opposite in the UK. I think it's easier to get into a good prep school. I mean, obviously, none of them really is that famous compared to the boarding school brands. But also relatively, they're easier to get into.
I think so. And I think it sets you up, even if they don't have a affiliated senior school, that you can sort of just...
Many of them don't.
And actually, most of them don't, probably. Most of them don't. But if you pick the right prep schools, like you mentioned, it sets you up nicely, I think, to make applications to good secondary schools.
My mom actually used to know quite a few really good people with good connections to schools in the UK. And I remember her recommending some of her friends with younger kids to go to prep schools when they were 9, around 9.
Around 9,
Many of them ended up in the best prep schools, despite no obvious talent. Because competition just wasn't as intense. For example, you don't get as many overseas students.
Exactly. I was going to say a lot of me and you, neither of us obviously have children, but I think we know a lot of we have a lot of friends who have children, and they want to send their children overseas. But a lot of it is the whole like kind of thing. And then that stops them going at 9, and then maybe they go to 11 or 13 or 15 or even 18.
I think it's a very good question. A lot of parents say that they don't want to send their kids away so early. I get the point. But I've always argued it's just you being slightly selfish. If you want the best, then send them out earlier because it's easier for them to get into the best schools.
And going to a good school also sets you up for potentially going to a better university or that kind of thing.
And in fact, you get so many holidays anyway. I actually think that my
So-
relationship with my mom got better after I was sent abroad because I got so many days off. And that little distance actually improved.
Probably. Abstinence
relationship.
makes the heart fonder.
Yeah, and I don't think there's too little time for you to see your family. Not at all.
No, it's not. And actually, I think, again, like from the family, friends and friends that we know, their children come back all the time.
Yes.
Let's not, summer holidays, you get 2 months.
Yeah.
Christmas, you get what, like 3 weeks, a month?
Easter, quite a few weeks.
Easter, you get 2 weeks.
Midterm.
Yeah, October half term is like 2 weeks.
Half term, right?
Yeah.
Not midterm,
And then the boarding
half-term.
schools also get the sort of like exeat weekend.
Exeats, yeah.
Exeats as well, which for some people, that's another opportunity to fly back.
Yeah. It's not that harsh. So would you agree that optimally 9 is the best time?
I think it depends as well on the child.
Right.
I think at 9, just children in general, no matter whether from here or from the UK, they're not that mature yet. They're not developed at all.
Mhm.
So maybe if you have a child who's a little bit not mature, immature, and then you send them off to boarding school, but they actually need a bit more guidance, like close contact guidance, parental support, whatever it might be, sibling support. It might be easy for them to sort of get led astray, as it were, or to waste time there in the first 2 years, kind of not knowing what they're doing. In which case, they might have been better off delaying for a couple of years and then going at like 11 or 13.
But 9 is definitely the uncommon.
9 is, I think 9 is
for
quite young.
Hong Kong parents.
Yeah, 9 is pretty young.
Yeah. 9 is definitely. I know quite a few friends who were sent over there when they were 9. My chief issue with the age of 9 is that their Chinese ability would be affected.
I think that's definitely a very, very good point.
Yeah. I don't think at the age of 9 you have enough Chinese ability.
No, and if they're being sent over there, they're going to be going to boarding school, which also means it's less likely that they'll be attending Chinese Sunday school.
Yeah,
which is what a lot of Chinese kids who go to day school do there. But if you're boarding, that's not really going to be an option.
Well, then, but I suppose, yes, you're right. I suppose we can send them to day prep school.
Yeah.
In London, I think you can find many.
Yep. Yeah. But then that would necessitate them having somewhere to live.
Yes, that's true.
One parent might have to go over.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or they live with a relative maybe or something.
Yeah. So that's not that easy.
Yeah.
So the next entry point would be 11.
11 plus, yeah.
But 11, if you go over at 11, when most students are preparing for the 11 plus the entrance exams, you'd be at a disadvantage, wouldn't you say?
Probably. I mean, I think 11 plus is it could be quite a smart way to get in. Right. I remember from my time back in the UK, I had friends who applied for good schools at 9 plus, couldn't get in.
Right.
And then they went to some other school for 2 years, and then at 11 plus, they applied to the school they failed to get into at 9 plus, based on the fact that they were now more mature, they had better grades, they had better extracurriculars, whatever.
Right.
And then they could stay there for 2 years and then still benefit from that school's reputation and training to get into the prep school later. So 11 plus is, I think, quite a smart entry point actually for some people.
Right, I see. So. Do you have a list of really good prep schools?
I'm not sure about a list. I think me and you know quite a few. We can probably discuss
it's quite a huge list, to be honest, because you don't really need to be in the best sort of prep schools. Who cares, really?
No.
As long as they're decent.
Yeah, decent.
But the big names are, I mean, yours is obviously one of them. It's a day school, I suppose.
Day school, yeah. Some borders, but not. It's
but
like 5%.
the big ones, the names that come to me immediately, Summerfields in Oxford, Sunningdale, Ludgrove, possibly the poshest,
one of the poshest,
one that Princess William and Harry went to. There are many of them.
There are many, there are actually quite a lot now. There are more,
Harrow has a sort of feeder prep school, Orley Farm. Although it's not a big
that's
one.
right.
It's in Harrow.
Yes,
really
it's a local
area, by the way.
Yeah.
Not a good area. But there are many. Weatherby.
Weatherby's a classic.
My mom helped a friend's daughter get into Weatherby. Weatherby is also attended by Prince William. Yeah. Quite a few closed down. Boris's, Ashdown, closed down. Heathcote, I think there's one. David Cameron went to one. That's also closed. Prince Andrew went there.
There are quite a lot. There are actually a lot of options.
Loads.
There's actually loads of options.
There are loads.
And to be honest, I think I know that the parents who want to send their children to these will want to take into consideration all the different factors about the school. But I think a lot of them are much alike, to be honest.
Yeah, they're all small, and they all send their graduates to different public schools
Public
anyway.
schools, yeah, they probably have like 2 or 3, or maybe like not 2 or 3, 3 to 5, say, public schools that they target, and then they send their graduates there.
Yep.
And then if you go to this one, they might have these 5, and if you go to this one, they have these 5, but they might overlap a couple.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
but
think
the top ones are probably all available.
Yep.
Not many audience know that I actually started off at a sort of provincial public school in Cambridgeshire when I first went. Year 10 student.
Oh, that's different.
That school had a prep school section.
Right.
And then when I went on to Harrow, I actually met a guy who had been to the prep school.
Oh. Right.
And went on to Harrow year 9.
Oh, I see.
So you can be at really any decent
Yeah,
prep school
you can
and end up anywhere.
Yep.
Really.
I think the difference between the prep school and the secondary school is the prep school is very much, I think, just putting you in a position to get to the secondary school later, and the brand of the brand of the prep school matters less, I think.
Yeah.
Whilst the secondary school name, like the ones that we know of, like Harrow, St. Paul's, Eton, Winchester, Cheltenham Ladies, all of these, that brand is a lot bigger than it is for the junior school.
I don't think I can't think of any prep schools enjoying a sort of national reputation, really.
Yeah, in the same way as
they're all too small, I think, and not as historic.
Yep.
I don't think prep schools really. I mean, there are obviously many Victorian ones, but they're not that old anyway.
Yep. Like you said, they don't enjoy the same sort of success academically, historically, that leads to them having the sort of preeminent reputation of some of the other schools.
Yeah, because it's always about the Victorian sort of public school ethos, and that's for students between 13 and 18.
Yeah.
Those are the big ones, and so let's move on to those public schools.
Yep.
Seb, I think we should define what a public school is for
yes, very different
audience who don't. They often get confused.
Yep, because it means a very different thing here than it does.
Because from an American perspective, that means it's a state
school. What you would call a state school in England.
We do call them state schools.
Yes, we also call them state schools.
But if it's a public school, not only is it not really public, it's very private.
Yeah. So a state school in the UK would be a school where you don't pay school fees, or you pay a very small subsidized government. It's a government school. And what we call a public school in England is actually a private school, and it's a very public schools are sort of used. The term public schools is used to refer to the very elite private schools, independent schools, as we call them.
When they were founded,
first
founded centuries ago, I think they were meant to serve the public kids.
Yes.
But gradually, because they were so prominent,
they
became
exactly.
paying.
Yes, exactly.
I think many of them retained sort of scholarships.
Yep.
For those who are really poor.
Yes.
But the majority, the overwhelming majority of the student body would be fee-paying students.
I think out of the 180 students, about 10, 15 were scholarship in my school.
Yeah. And your school was probably founded with 10 poor students in the first place.
Probably.
That's why the quota stays at 10.
Yep.
And so much so that I think I can even recall the year right. There's a Public School Act, 1868, something like that.
Yeah.
The 19th century, definitely. When a commission was ordered by government, I think it was called the Clarendon Commission, which investigated about 10 prominent public schools in the UK, including yours, St. Paul's. And I think I can remember the full list. It was Eton, Harrow, Winchester, obviously, Charterhouse.
Yep.
Rugby.
Rugby was one,
Shrewsbury, Westminster.
Yeah.
I'm missing one. But that's all 8.
Yeah, something like that.
Did I say Charterhouse? I did.
Yeah.
Big 3. Yes, I did. Harrow, Eton, Winchester, Westminster.
Yeah.
Charterhouse, Shrewsbury. I'm determined to find the 8th.
Was it a Canterbury one?
No. Canterbury wasn't in it. But I can easily dig it out.
Yeah.
Public School Act. Was
Yeah,
it
the
really
so-called very traditional.
1868? I am right. 1868 Public Schools Act, 1868. The 8 are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7. I'm sorry, there are 7. So I named them all, by the way. So it was Charterhouse, Eton, Harrow, Rugby, Shrewsbury, Westminster, Winchester. St. Paul's and Merchant Taylors were
Oh,
included,
Merchant Taylors, that's it.
but they successfully argued that
That's right.
their constitutions made them legally private schools,
Yep.
not public. That's interesting.
Yep.
So, so here's a view that these schools are nationally important.
Yeah.
So much so that they should be considered public schools, not even technically private schools. Whereas many other fee-paying schools nowadays, you might still term them public schools, but I think in a very strict sense, they are just private fee-paying.
They're just private independent schools.
But these 7, along I think with St. Paul's and Merchant Taylors, they're considered public schools. They were only omitted, I think, because they were day schools for some reason. But these are the most famous ones, but we can name about I'd say about a dozen or two.
Yeah, of course.
Still rather famous public schools such as so many Marlborough, Malvern,
Tunbridge,
Dulwich,
Oundle.
Caused quite a stir recently, apparently. Prince and Princess of Wales visited the school with Princess
Oundle's one,
Charlotte, apparently. And many more. Repton, for example.
Yep.
Sedberg.
Yeah. There's actually a lot of them.
I can think of many of them. Yeah. They're not exactly on that list, but they would still very much be considered
like top, very good.
Yeah, Wellington.
Wellington College, of course.
Yeah. So the entry point is 13.
Yep.
Yeah. And I suppose I think 90% of the students enter at that age.
Yep.
And that's year 9.
Yep. There might be the odd ones that come in at 16, but quite rare.
Rarer still, 14.
Yeah.
I entered when I was 14. Yeah. I was only able to get in because someone left.
Oh, I see. So
14 is when you get in because someone quit.
Yeah, because it's not a normal entry point.
No, you had to play the catch-up game.
Yeah.
When I joined, when I was 14, everyone knew everyone for a year already, and some of them had done some GCSE subject already.
Right.
I mean, they had started anyway.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
Not taking the exam. Sorry. Although I know that Harrow permits some students to take GCSEs in year 10 already.
Right. Oh yes, that's right.
Yes. Yeah. So I had to play the catch-up game. Year 10 is definitely, I think, not a good age to join.
I know that a lot of Hong Kong parents like to send their children over at 16 plus.
It's too late. I keep insisting.
Yes, but I think you will know from your experience advising people. It seems to be a very common this one.
Yeah.
And I don't know
well,
because
it's economical.
It's economical.
You save money.
It's only for 2 years, and I think they think it's better than just sending them at university. It gives them 2 years to be in the school.
That's true. At least they get a taste of boarding school. But I think you've got into a really stressful stage already.
I think so too. I dislike.
You've only got a year to
2 years, a year and a half.
Take exams and prepare for university applications.
Yeah, and socially, you're completely adrift with your.
You have no time anyway to really. Yeah.
You don't have any friends. You don't know anyone.
I think the best time really was year 9. The overwhelming. I think. I definitely recommend parents to send their kids to boarding school when they're 13.
Yeah, 13 is also good, I think, because it's a clean slate. You all start together. You all start the same.
Yeah, but that means you'd have to apply by the age of 11.
Yes. You have
2 years before.
Yes.
It's not impossible.
No.
And given how expensive the fees are now, particularly with VAT, value-added tax, squeezing a lot of local families out, I do think that it's not as competitive in a way.
Yes.
And because of geopolitics, there aren't actually that many international students still applying to those schools.
No. And just like how a lot of the universities, English universities, love to take foreign students because they pay higher fees. English boarding schools, public leading independent schools, actually now also like to take international school students.
Too many.
Too
I'd
many.
argue. Yeah.
Because they pay well.
Yeah.
And I think we both know.
Harrow is famously,
Yeah.
by tradition, by the way, a super international school. Anyway,
not just Asians, but the Africans.
Africans,
the rugby playing scholarship.
Middle East.
Middle East, yeah.
I
know Charterhouse is the same. Charterhouse have a lot of Middle Eastern students as well.
When I first got to Harrow, my next door neighbor was a guy from the Middle East. I got to know him, and he started bragging about how he's the third generation guy in the same boarding house at Harrow. And I was like, I literally said bullshit. I didn't believe him.
Yeah.
And he took me into the Bill Hall. We call it Bill Hall because you get your name registered, signing in, signing off every day, every morning and night. And Harrow has this funny tradition where every student's name is carved onto a wooden board when you enter the boarding house. And he did show me his dad's name and his
grandpa.
Yeah, he had a rather special surname.
I see.
And so it had to be. It's not just a plain Mohammed. It's yeah. So his granddad was in I think 1951. For some reason, I can recall this sort of figures. Yeah. Amazing. But yeah, it has such an old international tradition.
Right.
And I don't think. I think most big national public schools are very international nowadays.
Yeah, I think so too.
Even if
we've graduated for a while, but I think.
Yeah, even if they're very white and English speaking, they probably are sort of international families anyway.
Yep.
Like South African, normally based out of the country.
Yeah.
Zimbabwe, wherever, Tanzania. Yeah.
Middle East loads as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 13 is the best age, if you ask me.
Yeah, I think so.
And 14, I highly don't recommend it. I think it was really tough.
Yeah, I think 13 is the sweet spot.
Yeah, my parents decided that I should go abroad when I was 13, but they took some time to find sort of school that they liked.
I see.
And I was in a sort of provincial public school. It's very decent.
Yep.
But because of that, I think I can comment on the sort of private public schools in the UK. I genuinely think that the so-called national public schools are just brands.
Yep.
You pay, by the way, very similar levels of fees.
Yeah.
No matter how big the name is.
Yep.
In terms of teaching quality, it's about the same.
Yeah.
About the same.
I think teaching quality is probably about the same, which is why when parents think about where to send their children, they need to look at the other side of things.
Yeah.
Location, what else does it offer? How
school
your child
ethos.
fits in, school ethos.
The sort of students that it tends to attract.
Exactly. Like and it sounds a bit cliche, but I think they need to think about what kind of person their child wants to become, if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, because different schools produce very different
schools genuinely do produce different types of people.
You're right. Yeah.
For example, the classic is Winchester, for example, right? Neither of us went to Winchester, but we know a lot of people who went to Winchester.
Yeah.
And Winchester has a reputation for being sort of...
For me, it's a pseudo-intellectual school.
Exactly. Like a
you're not allowed to play rugby.
Exactly. So,
and it's meant to be very left-leaning.
Yep.
So, for example, it's so sort of liberal that you have no school uniform from year one. You wear your own suit.
Yep.
As long as it's a suit, you'd be fine. Yeah.
So if your child is maybe less sport inclined or interested, then you might consider Winchester as being more appropriate.
Yeah.
But if they're very sporty and you force them to go to a school like Winchester, you're putting them into a mold which might not be appropriate.
Yes. Well, Winchester, one of the big three traditionally, alongside Eton and Harrow, was regarded as... I genuinely think that the so-called national public schools are just brands.
Yeah.
You pay, by the way, very similar levels of fees.
Yeah.
No matter how big the name is.
Yep.
In terms of teaching quality, it's about the same.
Yeah.
about the same.
I think teaching quality is probably about the same, which is why when parents think about where to send their children, they need to look at the other side of things.
Yeah.
Location, what else does it offer? How
School
your child fits in,
ethos.
school ethos.
The sort of students that it tends to attract.
Exactly. Like what, and it sounds a bit cliche, but I think they need to think about what kind of person their child wants to become, if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, because different schools produce very
different schools genuinely do produce different types of people.
You're right.
Yeah. For example, the classic is Winchester, for example, right? Neither of us went to Winchester, but we know a lot of people who went to Winchester.
Yeah.
And Winchester has a reputation for being sort of...
For me, it's a pseudo-intellectual school.
Exactly. Like a sort of
you're not allowed to play rugby.
Exactly. So,
it's meant to be very left-leaning.
Yep.
So, for example, it's so sort of liberal that you have no school uniform from year one. Mm-hmm. You wear your own suit.
Yep.
As long as it's a suit, you'd be fine.
Yeah. So if your child is maybe less sport inclined or interested, then you might consider Winchester as being more appropriate.
Yeah.
But if they're very sporty and you force them to go to a school like Winchester, you're putting them into a mold which might not be appropriate.
Yes. Well, Winchester, one of the big three traditionally, alongside Eton and Harrow, was regarded as the school to send your sons to if you didn't want them to go to Eton and Harrow, which was regarded as the sort of same style.
Yep.
And traditionally, it's famous for producing civil servants and spies. I'm being really old school here, by the way.
Yes.
Winchester has become a co-ed school in the last few years.
Yeah, which is something we'll talk about.
And many of my friends who went there swear they'll never be connected with the school whatsoever. I dare say this, I'm in Hong Kong. I don't care at all. I'm not from that school, but they think the school has completely changed, which is a topic that I'd like to come on to soon. But I recently saw ads by Winchester asking me to apply and attend a free talk on Winchester sixth form. That is 16 to 18, A-level. I think they do A-levels still. Or IB. Maybe they do both. I don't know. But and I felt that was a disgrace to be making adverts asking students in Hong Kong to apply. I mean, what the hell? I mean,
it sort of really devalues
it devalues. It's a topic that I'd really like to come on to. I think what Winchester is doing is completely wrong. Unless you're publicly admitting that you don't have enough students, which would be really sad for such a competitive school to say that we don't have enough applications. And it's now fully co-ed. One of the oldest traditional boys only boarding schools in the UK admit students of both genders. What's your view on single sex?
This is a really
co-ed schools.
This is a really interesting one.
You were in the single sex school the whole
time.
How did you feel?
I think that the single sex, same sex thing, there's a lot to be said for both sides, to be honest.
Yes, that I agree. I think I really wouldn't say one is better than the other.
No, I think it'd be very difficult to say one is better than the other, and I think it really comes down to the experiences that you had growing up in whether it was a single sex school or a same sex school. And I mean, even for people who studied in Hong Kong and went to a same sex school or a single sex school, it just depends on what experiences you had.
Yeah.
But for me, I mean, context wise, especially for the audience who might not know, to go to a school at 9 years old. Actually, just to explain a bit more. So the school I went to before Collett Court, St. Paul's Junior, was a very, very local school near my house. It was about 10 minutes walk away.
Right.
It was like on the high street next to my house. Right. And there were only 8 students in a year.
Really?
8 or 9 students in a year.
Wow.
And there were only like 4 or 5 years because it was from like 3 to 9.
Okay.
So the whole school only had like 70 kids. And and it was co-ed.
Right.
So I went from that to being in a school with 90 boys at 9 years old. So that's like a real big culture shock, like learning shock, right? And then to go to 180 boys, obviously. So I think it's great in a way that it teaches. So the all boys experience for me taught you a lot about learning how to interact with boys, sort of the hierarchy thing, how you fit in, blah, 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 blah. Obviously there were opportunities to meet girls socially and also through the school. But it's quite different, I think, not being in the school with girls to being in the same school as them academically. One argument that I've heard said, which I think I didn't think about this at the time, but I think there's some truth in, is that same-sex schools are better for academic results because people get less distracted.
Right.
Which sounds like a very simple sort of oversimplification, but I think there's something in that.
But many public schools, which were formerly single-sex, are now becoming co-ed, especially the boys' schools.
Especially boys' schools, and they used to be opened up maybe at A-level 16, but now they're lowering it even more.
That's sort of modern development.
Yeah, that's a modern development.
But yes, most of them are becoming fully from 13 up, completely co-educational. But the main argument is one, they don't get enough boys applications to sustain good quality intake. And the other reality is that the girls just do so much better academically.
I was about to say that girls are better.
Allow them in. Your ranking is just so much lower on that league table,
because
right?
even the top boys' schools, all boys' schools that we know of, they can't compete in the rankings with a mid-tier girls' school. Yeah. Because the girls' academics results are ridiculously phenomenal.
Unless you're like Harrow, who doesn't give a damn.
Yeah.
We take pride in having crappy academic results. Always been like this.
Yeah. And like even, like St. Paul's, my school, is one of the best boys' schools.
Yeah.
But even we...
Not one of the best, Seb, the best. And I saw very recently the latest data.
Oh, the Times one. Yeah, this year. Yeah.
St. Paul's had about... Number one, for sure.
Number one, yeah. Back on number one.
Something like approaching 50%.
Yeah.
Oxbridge intake rate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like almost half your students received Oxbridge offers.
Offers, yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. And even then, like, I think this year's the first year we probably exceeded the girls. But generally, the St. Paul's girls' school are even more dominant to us, which just shows girls overall.
You both are crazy. I think you had about, 78 Oxbridge offers in a year out of 180.
Yeah, that's exactly right. We were told that out of the 180, 2/3, about 80 get offers, and then another half of those convert. So 40,
and guess
50.
How many Harrow had last year? I still get sent those
emails.
Old Boys magazines once a year, like annual report. But about 6 or 8. Crazy. Although the latest development with Harrow and a few other similar schools is that increasingly about 20-25%, so 1 in 4, 1 in 5 students choose to go to the States for university.
Oh, okay, interesting. That's interesting.
Harrow has become one of those leading the way
for going to okay.
That wasn't the norm back in my days. We definitely had students who went on to unis in the States, but not that many. Not as many as 1 in 4. That's a lot.
1 in 4 is a lot. Yeah, there is a bit of a general shift in education approaches. One is going to uni in the States. One is the same sex thing. But what do you think about the same sex thing?
I like it the traditional way. I'm an ultra conservative when it comes
you like to go to school with just boys.
I like traditional schools. I like the traditional uniform, tail coats and straw hats and white ties and things like that. Or waistcoats. So I'm traditional in that sense. I struggle with the sort of reforms that have been taking place. I mean, Harrow hasn't changed, and will be. I don't think it will dare turn into a co-ed school anytime soon. But what I am most against is not just Harrow, but Harrow's been the most aggressive one in expanding into the international market by opening international branches everywhere.
Yes.
Harrow now has branches in... The very first one was really early on, in the 90s or even 80s in Bangkok. That was the first one. And then it opened a branch in Beijing.
Right.
The very first.
Right. Trying to tap into the China market.
To break into the China market really early on. That was the second one. But now it has branches in Hong Kong, Shenzhen,
Wow,
Hainan, Zhuhai,
So many.
crazy.
So many. It's like
I think
McDonald's.
Shanghai as well. And a lot more are going to be opened in the
Yeah,
next few
yeah.
years. Uh, and the two most recent ones are most interesting. There's a Harrow International School, APPI, APPI. No idea where that is in Japan. It's in Japan,
Right.
but it's named Harrow
Oh,
School
right.
APPI
Oh, okay, I see.
because it
I know
has
what you mean.
plans to open in other Japanese areas.
Right.
So there might be a Harrow International Tokyo, Kyoto,
Wow.
Osaka. You know,
Yep.
it's becoming like McDonald's.
Yeah, it's a McDonald's model. Yeah, it's a
That's
franchise
crazy.
model.
And again, because of this big data thing and because of my interest in UK education,
Yeah.
Harrow International APPI pushes adverts again onto my Instagram, asking me to sign up to its free talk. I was tempted to go.
I was going to say, we should sign up just to see what
in
they have
Hong
to say.
Kong,
Okay.
asking Hong Kong parents to send their kids to this ski
It's a
resort.
ski, yeah, because Appy's a
It's
ski.
somewhere. It's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
ski resort
Yeah,
basically.
Appy's a ski
It's
thing, yep.
covered.
Yep.
You know where that is?
Yeah, it's a ski.
Oh
Yeah.
gosh. So I find that unbelievable, and it opened the branch in New York
Right.
last year. That's the most surprising destination because of the fierce competition.
Yeah.
In the States, right?
Leading boarding schools in America on the East Coast.
And I read a few days ago on Vogue, I think, or Town and Country. I don't think one of those posh American publications that it's struggling to attract students. It wanted to attract 60 students in the first year. Guess how many? It really successfully
like half or something.
20. So it's really struggling, and
I think the failure of Harrow to attract students in the US is symptomatic of the whole problem, because Harrow is a traditional English boys boarding school with a particular ethos, and you sent your children there because you want them to develop and become a certain type of people.
Yeah.
But American parents aren't they're looking for something different. It's not better or worse, it's just something different. So you can't take one model that works here and just apply it somewhere else. It's not that simple. It's much more sort of geographical and cultural specific.
I think you lose something when you take these schools out of their original place.
Exactly.
You know, in Harrow being in London, for example.
Yeah. Like I can't
But
imagine.
at least I must defend them in the sense that they call the schools Harrow International School.
Yep.
And actually, legally, they are not exactly branches.
I see.
It's just a franchise.
Yeah, it's literally
a different
McDonald's.
brand.
Yeah.
And I think I'm right in this. Harrow did make a high court application in the UK.
Yep.
Asking to change its founding status, its constitution, from that of originally in 1572. It was a royal charter. It was a non-profit, charity.
Charity. Yeah. That's like
it wanted to change that,
right.
And become a sort of for-profit corporation.
Yeah.
High Court rejected that. So it can't quite associate itself with the international branches.
I see.
It can't become sort of one family, even though I think I read that the Harrow headmaster went to the Shenzhen branch.
Of course, I'm sure their affiliation. Yeah.
And he proclaimed that we are one family.
Yep.
I'm really against that, by the way. I really hated it.
No, I agree with you. I don't like the idea that these. Maybe we're a bit old-fashioned and we're a bit biased because we went to the original ones of these.
Yeah.
But there's something a little bit unsavory, I think,
Yeah.
about taking these great institutions and establishments with such history, and then just sort of trying to copy and paste. Essentially,
imagine you can buy a bag in Hong Kong and it's called Hermes Hong Kong.
Exactly.
How would you feel?
Yep. That's exactly the analogy I was about to use. I was going to say people like, especially our Hong Kong audience, they love things that are exclusive, right?
Yeah.
Exclusive things from other countries, bags, goods, food. The whole point is that it's because it's exclusive to that
You're
place.
right. You're right. I feel sorry for those Harrow Hong Kong students and parents. I know many of them, whether they're family, friends, or because they came to me for advice. When Harrow Hong Kong was founded, it was the third branch only.
Yep.
After Bangkok and Beijing.
Yeah.
10 years on, you can find one just across the border in Samjang and in Zhuhai. and in Hoilan, which is an hour's flight. Technically, they're all the same.
Yeah.
They're not actually the same. They're run by very different
yeah.
boards and stuff.
Yeah.
But and the Harrow Hong Kong branch is actually very competitive.
Yeah.
Its academic results are way better.
Yeah, I was going to say the Harrow Hong
London
Kong
one.
produce good students, and I think it's important for us to sort of add as well. We're definitely not dissing sort of anyone who goes to the international, the franchised British boarding schools in Hong Kong or China or wherever. No. But I think it's just conceptually, the idea that these institutions are doing this is something which is not great.
It's just so weird. The other day, just woke up and Instagram sent me this post, and my eyes were half open and went onto it. And I saw a lot of, this is me not being racist at all, a lot of Indian faces. But it's a Harrow account. And was confused. I was like, I understand that, Harrow London is very international anyway, but how can it be all Indian faces? So so it was the post, and I had to click into the account.
Yep.
And it's one of Harrow's newest branch.
Right.
In some state in India.
Yep.
It's not New Delhi. It's
Sure.
it's a provincial place.
Yeah.
Some state starting with the letter J. And you know what? It's got double the number of followers compared to Harrow UK. And it's very established. The account is really vibrant.
Really active.
I suppose it attracts a lot of Indian parents. Yeah. But yeah, there's now even branches in India.
No, and I think one of the things which perhaps is people might not appreciate is it's all very well for these international boarding schools to take the model of the UK one and implement it in Hong Kong, in America, in China, in Japan, India, wherever, thinking that, okay, this is a school that had good teachers, good facilities, good sport, good music. I'll replicate that. But it's not really about that, as we know, because the whole UK boarding school experience is much more about the stuff you can't see. That experience isn't so tangible as like, I did this or I did that or I had these facilities.
I'm a cultural conservative, and I just think you lose something.
You lose something, you lose something. And a lot of the things that that the boarding schools that we know in England are sort of famous for, it's partly to do with either its geography or its history or its culture. It's all part of that. Like, for example, St. Paul's is a big rowing school.
Yeah.
And we produce really good rowers. Some represent like Team GB and things like that. So and we send people to American.
You've got a boathouse in Thames.
Yeah, exactly. So because our school is next to the River Thames, there is a direct access down.
I don't think Harrow had rowing at all.
No, because it's not. But it didn't make. So for example, this is exactly what I mean. So say St. Paul's opened up a franchise branch here.
Yeah.
Knowing that rowing is a big part of the culture, they might try to implement something here. But it's not the same thing, because the whole point.
If open a branch in Hong Kong, it'd be the most popular international school. I bet, because it suits the tastes of Hong Kong parents most. I bet.
Yeah.
St. Paul's is actually so Chinese in a way. Harrow isn't right for us because it's so meant to be all rounded.
Yep.
I actually wouldn't be a natural fit at all, by the way, for Harrow, because I'm not that all rounded at all. I'm not musical.
Yep.
I like sports, but I'm not considered really sporty.
Yeah.
I'm very academic, but Harrow's no academic at all. Yeah. I was the very first student to be sent to take the UK National Olympiad, Mathematics Olympiad entrance, a team entrance exam.
Yep.
I was the first ever. That's when I first got to know about your school, by the way, because I kept asking, how am I the first one to get asked to take this exam?
Yep.
And my maths teacher was like, well, because all the kids in London who get to take this exam would be at St. Paul's or Westminster, to be fair.
Yeah, Westminster's also obviously a very good London
but not as
school.
good as you, to be honest. I think you are top.
No, I had the choice to go to Westminster. I
Really?
I don't know if I ever told you. Yeah.
Right.
So when I applied for St. Paul's Junior Collet Court from my school of like 60 people, I applied to 3 schools, Collet Court, Westminster, and Sussex House. Probably never heard of it. It's a very small local London school.
Really?
Yeah, and then I got offers from all three.
Right.
And
Westminster's crazy. It's next to the UK Parliament.
yeah, exactly.
Right in the middle,
city,
next to Big Ben.
Yeah, right in the city of London. Yeah. And so then I took into the considerations the type of schools, and Westminster was less sporty, maybe more musical.
Oh, really?
And I was much more into sports.
Right.
And St. Paul's, despite being in London, as you know, like has the ridiculous grounds for sports. That's why
St. Paul's is sort of down to earth. Is Westminster posh?
Yeah, a little bit.
Right.
Yeah, but I think because of the location, it's in the center of London.
Right.
It's a little bit of a different experience to go there.
Okay. Because Harrow is quite posh. I'd say Harrow is the second poshest. Eton is the poshest.
Yeah, Eton, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there were the couple of the girls' ones are pretty posh too.
Yeah. No, I think Harrow is just known to be posh. We're not otherwise any good. If you ask me, really, academically, definitely not good. But yeah. How interesting. And now they're all opening branches everywhere.
Yeah.
I think the most brilliant example is actually rugby.
Yep.
Family friends, kids are all there. And I've known friends from that school all my life. But it doesn't call its international branches international schools.
I see.
It actually calls its international branches sort of just a foreign campus. So rugby school, Dubai.
Campus.
Rugby school, Bangkok, I think.
Okay, very interesting.
I don't know if they've got it in China. They should do by now, but it's not an international school.
Yeah.
It's actually considered
I see.
part of rugby.
Right.
That's
another different model. Yeah.
another level now.
Yeah.
And there are so many traditional English public schools opening branches in Hong Kong now.
There are a lot of girls ones as well.
Girls ones as well. There's Wickham Abbey, although it's co-ed apparently.
In Hong Kong.
Yeah.
That's strange.
That's weird.
That's weird. Wickham Abbey is such a traditional girls only.
Yeah, it's the DGS. It's the UK DGS, right? There's Shrewsbury, one of the 7 national public schools. Now I think it's in Homantina or Zhongguan, I can't remember. Shrewsbury, there's Malvern.
Yep.
I've got a family. My nephew is there.
Right.
There's Malvern, Shrewsbury, Wickham Abbey, Harrow, obviously.
Yeah.
I think there's a few more.
Do you think that when parents here consider sending their children to what school they should consider sending their children to, do you think they should consider the franchised UK boarding schools in Hong Kong, like the ones that you've just said, Malvern, Wickham Abbey, Harrow, the same as the sort of traditional Hong Kong international schools, or should they consider them as like a different category?
I'm a traditionalist. I still think that the top international schools in Hong Kong are the traditional ones, although not that old at all. But I still think the best two are probably CIS and German Swiss. No, personally, I don't like either of them, but I'd say they're the traditionally strong choices.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah.
HKIS being a posh, but I suppose HKIS is a bit like Harrow. not to my taste, but the new ones, Harrow Hong Kong is the most established, and it really is academically competitive.
It is. Yeah.
Would I recommend it? Probably not, because I just don't like new things when it comes to schools. I think schools, you need that sort of heritage and history.
Yes.
Just because the brand name itself is old doesn't mean
exactly. It's like it's being shiny on the outside. Yeah.
I
went to
don't
the Harrow Hong Kong campus once.
Yeah.
To give a talk about law.
Really?
A career talk. Yeah.
Really?
I was invited by a student to give a talk there.
Really?
Yeah, and I went there. And it was I was quite surprised, like you said, because I didn't know anything about it. I didn't really know what it was like. And I got there and it was sort of quite fancy looking, sort of like there's like a white building thing in the entrance.
I bet the campus is actually nicer than
Harrow,
London.
Yeah, and it's a bit like what you said, like the students are quite smart, obviously very smart.
Yeah.
But it did feel a bit like, there's sort of a very nice exterior, but I don't know how the heritage, I'm not sure, was there.
Yeah. No, I'm completely
and both of us are
it.
a bit of a old fashioned,
Yeah, I know. I've made myself rather controversial whenever I make that view known, but I stand by that view. Yeah.
And the analogy you used just now about sort of like an Hermes bag from France, and then you come to Hong Kong and it says like this little thing that says it was made in Hong Kong or something. It's not quite the same.
Yeah, I hope people don't see us being snobbish.
Yeah.
Because, no, I really am not.
No, definitely, and that's why I said I think for a lot of people as well,
It's like if DGS or DBS opening a branch in London, it'd be weird.
It'd be weird. It'd just be strange, and I just don't think it would fit the people. Like,
No.
it would just be strange. But I mean, for a lot of people who can't send their children to the UK boarding schools, who still want them to have a similar experience, of course, I can see why the Hong Kong ones like Malvern, Wickham Abbey will have appeal for sure. I can definitely see why they would consider sending them there.
Yeah.
So there's definitely no criticism of people who go there or parents who think to send their children there.
Might have a better time.
They probably will. I think the people we know who went to Wickham Abbey, England, the girls have pretty horrible times.
Yes.
They're like, well, like you said, it's the DGS, isn't it? They're pretty miserable, most of them.
Yeah. No,
So they would be happy
and
here.
I'm completely okay with going to an international school in Hong Kong over boarding school in the UK. I can understand that.
Yeah, definitely.
And I am very surprised by the number of international school options in Hong Kong nowadays.
I'm really surprised as well. I remember like 10 years ago, there weren't that many. You were always seeing the same sort of names.
Yes.
But now you hear about ones that you've never heard of.
Birth rate being that low, and there's this exodus of expats.
Yep.
How come they can still open so many new ones?
I think, but they're no longer filled with expat students. I think a lot of them they're filled with just local Hong Kong Chinese students.
Where are they from? How interesting.
Yeah. I get pretty surprised sometimes when I see, because I do like divorce cases, and you see the children's schools, and you always see these new international schools every time, and I'm thinking I've never heard of this one. And then you look it up, and you're like, oh, it's been around for like 30 years or whatever. But you just don't know because there are now just so many.
Yeah. One final question.
Yeah.
When it comes to school choices, be them international schools or boarding schools in the UK, public schools, how would you choose for your kids if you had one?
Very good question.
Should they be should they go to an academic school or an all-rounded one or whatever?
I think it really depends on the personality type of your child.
Right.
I think you should lean into what they're good at, but also make them go to a school which gives them a bit of scope to work on what they're not good at or to learn new things.
Right.
So what I mean by that is, for example, if your kid is very academically inclined, obviously they should go to an academic school,
right?
But don't make it one that's only academic and not good for anything else.
Okay.
If they are not that academically inclined, but they're good at art or music or sport or whatever, then make sure you send them to a school which will allow them to pursue those things as well, so they can maybe build up something there.
I would send them to an all-rounded school so that they can fulfill their potential one way or the other.
Agreed.
Because I fear that when they are 13, they might not know yet what they're truly good at.
Agree.
So I don't want to narrow the options.
That's exactly what I was trying to get at. Yeah.
But in general, my answer is I would choose a poshest.
And same sex.
And same sex. Just because I'm a traditionalist, one, and two, it's not because I'm snobbish. It's because if they are exposed to supposedly the poshest environment, it gains them the confidence to realize that, okay, so my peers are just people who are normal after all. So the world is oyster.
Yep.
That's the point.
Yep.
Because what going to Harrow really taught me is that the so-called poshest class of people in the world are just like that anyway. They're not any special. They're common. You sort of grew up with them, so you start to think that you can have the world at your feet.
Yeah.
That gives you real confidence.
Definitely. I think actually you made a really good point just now. Going to somewhere which gives you opportunities to try different things is very important.
Yeah.
I think that's actually probably the key takeaway.
Yeah, in that sense, Harrow's good. Because
and what I mean by that is go to a school which allows you to take a variety of academic subjects.
Yeah.
and also do a variety of extracurricular things, and maybe is surrounded by different people. I think that's also really important. I think one of the good things about the UK system is we were so lucky, the schools we went to, we were so lucky to meet people from so many different walks of life, because even though they were posh schools, there were students on scholarships, so you got people from less privileged backgrounds, and you also got so many international students. Like, and by international, I mean people who lived in the UK who were culturally not from the UK, and also international students, which gave us such a good understanding, even at like 12, about like, I don't know, what Sikh traditions are like, because the guy who sits next to you is a Sikh, and or some other guy who sits there and he doesn't eat particular foods because of halal. That's not something that you might get if you went to a very secluded sort of school.
I like my exposure.
Yeah, the exposure I think is
really helped.
Yeah, I think that's really important. And you just get to try different things and realize what you're good at, right?
But to answer one final question from some of the parents' audience, though, they ask what school would I send my son to? My answer would be Eton still. And I still distinctly remember when I was at Harrow, I sat next to a classmate whose older brother was at Eton. But he was the dumber guy. He couldn't get to, because we used to enjoy the reputation of being the Eton reject school.
Yeah, got it.
And he had to settle for Harrow. I actually knew many in my year who were a bit like that. The older brother or the younger brother got into Eton, but they got rejected. They're usually not that smart. And he commented that if I had a son, I would definitely send him to Eton anyway, because the fees are exactly the same. In fact, we had to pay higher fees for school uniform. Stupidly, we had to buy 2 sets, one for the weekdays, one for Sundays. Sundays being the cocktail, the tailcoats that Eton Etonians would wear every single day. We had to buy 2 sets, but the fees were similar. But I think one is I think way more competitive.
Eton is obviously still very good.
There's a very interesting book that I recommend parents who are interested in boarding schools in the UK to read, called The Importance of Being Eton. Really good book.
Is it written by an Etonian?
Yes,
of course.
Yes. There's also another one which is very interesting. It really explains the attraction of public school education from the first person's perspective. It's called David Cameron's School Days at Eton, something like that. David Cameron's Eton Days, something like that.
Right.
It's fictional.
Oh, it's fictional.
Written by a peer, a classmate of David Cameron at Eton. It's a novel. It's a very short novel, but it really explains why going through 5 years at a boarding school really teaches you how to.
I think we sort of touched on this in one of our previous episodes about schools, but I think the key thing, which, I mean, obviously I didn't go through the education system in Hong Kong, so I can't really make a direct comparison, but that whole public school experience in England gives you a very different approach, I think, to life. It teaches you a way of thinking, which is quite different. It's a way of approaching problems, a problem-solving approach, a mentality.
Independence. And this know-how about survival.
It's a know-how about survival, exactly. It's just about knowing how to get through different situations, particularly ones that you don't actually know anything about.
Try those 2 books, by the way. I highly recommend them. They really gave me the sort of reflections about why this sort of education worked, at least for me. But anyway, on that bombshell, thank you for watching. Till next time. Bye.